Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. In the previous video, we learnt about the concept of forgiveness and punishment according to Islam. As usual, the link to the previous video as well as the book under study is in the description below. In this video, we will learn about the moral qualities of absolute justice, kindness, and kinship, and their unique role in our spiritual growth. So let's get started.
اسمعوا صوت السماء جاء المسيح جاء المسيح.
First of all, to elaborate these three qualities, His Holiness presents a fundamental verse of the Holy Quran in this regard and states, "Verily, Allah enjoins justice and the doing of good to others and giving like kindred, and forbids indecency and manifest evil and wrongful transgression." This means that we are commanded to return good for good and to exercise benevolence when it is called for, and to do good with natural eagerness as between kindred, when that should be appropriate. God Almighty forbids transgression, or that you should exercise benevolence out of place, or should refrain from exercising it when it is called for, or that you should fall short of exercising graciousness as between kindred on its proper occasion, or should extend it beyond its appropriate limit. This verse sets forth three gradations of doing good. According to this verse, there are three grades of doing good which must be exercised in their proper occasion. The first grade is adl, i.e. absolute justice. That is, to do good in return for good. As God Almighty states elsewhere in the Holy Quran, "Hal jaza'ul ihsan illa al-ihsan," that can the reward for good be anything but good? This, however, is considered to be the elementary level of morality in relation to doing good, which is achievable by even an average person. The second grade is to take the initiative to do good as an act of kindness. Though this grade may be admirable, it is usually not manifested perfectly. This is because generally most people consider themselves to be benevolent to the poor. However, reflection would show that there is usually a hidden deficiency in their intentions, where they seek acknowledgement, praise, or even prayer in return. And if by any chance the person should turn against them, then they consider them to be ungrateful and sometimes go as far as to remind them of their kindness or put some burden on them. Condemning this behavior, God states in the Holy Quran, and His Holiness further explains, "Render not vain your alms by taunt or injury. That is, owe those who do good to others, good that should be based on sincerity. Do not render it vain by reminding them what favors you have done to them, or by inflicting injury on them." The Arabic word for alms, i.e. sadaqah, is derived from a root sidq, that means sincerity. If the heart is not inspired by sincerity in bestowing alms, the almsgiving ceases to be alms and becomes mere display. That is why those who exercise benevolence have been admonished by God Almighty not to render vain their benevolence by reproaches or injury. The third grade of doing good is graciousness that resembles that done between kindred. In this grade, one does not do good in return for good, nor does one do an act of kindness as a favor. Rather, doing good becomes second nature with such eager sympathy as a mother behaves with her child. This is the highest grade of doing good which cannot be exceeded. However, with this, an important matter should be remembered in terms of proper time and occasion, so they can truly be considered moral qualities. In this regard, His Holiness explains, God Almighty has conditioned all these grades of doing good with their appropriate time and place. The verse cited above clearly indicates that if these virtues are not exercised in their proper places, they would become vices. For instance, if equity exceeds its limits, it would take on an unwholesome aspect and would become indecent. In the same way, misuse of benevolence would take on a form which would be repelled by reason and conscience. And in the same way, graciousness between kindred would become transgression. The Arabic word for transgression is baghi, which connotes excessive rain which ruins crops. A deficiency in the discharge of an obligation or an excess in its discharge are both baghi. In short, whichever of these three qualities is exercised out of place becomes tainted. That is why they are all three qualities conditioned by the due observance of place and occasion. So, these are the fundamental grades of doing good, which are achieved as one works on one's morality and improves one's spirituality. As one falls deeper and deeper in love with Allah, the more refined one's character becomes. His Holiness then presents a number of other verses of the Holy Quran in relation to benevolence, which are also made subject to time and occasion. You can read those verses from page 65 to 71 of the book under study, The Philosophy of the Teachings of Islam. But that is all we have time for today, bringing us to the end of today's lesson. In the next lesson, inshallah, we will continue to learn about further moral qualities in relation to the doing of good. As mentioned before, I have linked the book in the description below. Make sure to click on the bell icon to be notified of future lessons. Make sure to also subscribe, like, and share this video so that we can enable as many people as possible to benefit from the treasures left behind by the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.